Hey Raiders fans, welcome back to the channel. And today we are diving deep into all the latest news surrounding our beloved Las Vegas Raiders. Week 1 is officially here, and the energy is just electric. There's nothing quite like that feeling of the season finally kicking off, knowing that all the training camps, preseason games, and roster shuffles are finally culminating in actual football that counts. And speaking of roster shuffles, the Raiders made some moves yesterday that are definitely worth breaking down, and we're going to do just that. Let's start with the headline signing, linebacker Brian Oamoa. Now, for those of you who remember, Oamoa first came onto the NFL radar as a promising athlete coming out of Oklahoma. He was a third-round pick for the Minnesota Vikings, number 66 overall, and had a lot of hype around him because of his speed, agility, and overall athletic profile. But the journey hasn't exactly been smooth. He spent 3 seasons in Minnesota, then had a stint on the Titans practice squad, and now he finds himself joining the Raiders practice squad. What makes Oamoa such an interesting addition is that while his raw numbers might not jump off the page at first glance, there's a lot to unpack about his potential. Let's talk grades for a moment. Last season, in extremely limited action, he posted a 29.2 overall grade with 73.8 in pass rush, 42.6 in run defense, and a coverage grade of 28. Now, if you only look at the surface numbers, that doesn't sound encouraging at all, but the context here is vital. Those stats came over just 34 total snaps, which is basically nothing in the grand scheme of evaluating a player. If we look back at the 2023 season, over 36 snaps, his overall grade was 38.3, and coverage improved significantly to 72.5. Again, a limited sample, but it's enough to hint that the athleticism is real and, with the right coaching, could translate into meaningful contributions. His 2022 season is the most telling, with 121 snaps and an overall grade of 78.8, coverage at 78.1, and run defense at 74.2. That's when you start seeing a clearer picture of the kind of player he could develop into with consistent playing time and good coaching. Oamoa is the type of athlete who might not be ready to play a full defensive role immediately, but where he can make an impact is on special teams. That's often how these practice squad additions begin to make a name for themselves, and in Oamoa's case, it seems like a perfect fit. He's fast, twitchy, and has the kind of explosive pursuit speed that coaches love when evaluating potential special teams contributors. There's even some talk comparing certain aspects of his style to Jamal Adams in terms of athleticism and versatility. The challenge for Oamoa has always been technique. He can sometimes look like a chicken running around without a head on the field, which is to say his athleticism is undeniable, but he's still developing football instincts at the professional level. But if he hones his coverage skills and learns the system, there's potential for him to be much more than just a practice squad player. For now, though, the expectation is that he'll provide depth and help the team in areas that require speed and aggression on special teams. Moving on, the Raiders also signed quarterback Jeff Driscoll, a veteran presence with experience across multiple NFL teams. Driscoll was a 6th-round pick back in 2016. And while he's not an immediate starter, his familiarity with different offensive systems makes him a valuable addition as a third quarterback. This signing could have implications for Cam Miller and Aiden O'Connell down the line, especially if the Raiders are looking to manage depth at the quarterback position while maintaining flexibility on roster. Driscoll has bounced around quite a bit, having spent time with the 49ers, Bengals, Lions, Broncos, Texans, Cardinals, Browns, and Commanders before landing here. That breadth of experience is exactly what makes him an intriguing practice squad candidate. He knows how to absorb different offensive schemes and can help younger quarterbacks adapt and learn more quickly. The Raiders clearly see value in adding a player who can contribute to the development of their quarterbacks while also being ready in case of injury or other contingencies. On the other side of the coin, the Raiders waived linebacker Matt Jones. In many ways, Jones and Oamoa share similar athletic traits, but coverage issues seem to be a recurring problem for Jones. While athletic enough to go sideline to sideline, he often got lost in space and struggled to impact the game consistently in coverage situations. The preseason highlighted some of these vulnerabilities, and ultimately, the the Raiders made the tough call to move on. It's always difficult to see talented athletes like Jones released, but roster decisions at this level are about optimizing both skill sets and fit within the scheme. This move opens the door for Oamoa to fill a similar niche with hopefully better results. Another notable departure is Trey Taylor at safety. Taylor, a seventh-round pick, faced a perfect storm of challenges: a new coaching regime, a crowded safety room, and limited opportunities to prove himself in practice. While he showed flashes, the Raiders decided not to retain him. It's a tough break, no doubt, but in professional football, sometimes fit and timing outweigh talent alone. Taylor will get another shot elsewhere, and hopefully, he finds a team that can leverage his skills more effectively. Shifting gears slightly, one player who has generated buzz outside the Raiders is Malo, now landing with the New Orleans Saints. This is an interesting storyline because Malo brings athleticism and versatility that the Saints could use in a creative role. While he's not Taysom Hill, the path Malo has in New Orleans could allow him to showcase his skill set in ways that weren't possible on the Raiders roster. For a player like him, opportunity is everything, and being in a system that might design special packages around his unique abilities could be career-altering. Now, let's pivot to the matchup side of things, specifically the Raiders versus the Patriots. There's some critical injury news that could impact the opening week matchup. Christian Gonzalez, arguably the top cornerback for New England, remains sidelined with a hamstring injury he's been managing since early training camp. Hamstring injuries are notoriously tricky. They can linger and flare up again if pushed too hard. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel has expressed cautious optimism, but also frustration, noting that it's uncertain whether Gonzalez will be ready in time for the Raiders season opener. From a strategic perspective, this could shift the way both teams approach game planning, especially in the passing game. Gonzalez's absence might create openings for the Raiders receivers to exploit, particularly in critical third-down situations. Speaking of development, the quarterback room is a microcosm of how the Raiders are thinking about the future. Jeff Driscoll's addition adds not just experience, but also a different kind of football IQ. He's been around multiple systems and coaches, and that exposure can be invaluable when mentoring younger quarterbacks like Cam Miller or Aiden O'Connell. The idea seems to be creating a layered approach. Let the younger quarterbacks absorb knowledge from a seasoned veteran, provide stability in practice, and maintain flexibility for in-season adjustments. Quarterback depth is always a delicate balancing act. You want to nurture talent without clogging the roster or creating redundancy, and Driscoll's role seems carefully tailored to that philosophy. The challenge, of course, is ensuring that all three quarterbacks, Driscoll, O'Connell, and Miller, remain sharp and ready for opportunities that could arise suddenly, whether due to injuries or strategic rotations. Meanwhile, the departure of players like Matt Jones and Trey Taylor underscores the unforgiving nature of NFL roster management. Both were talented athletes, yet coverage weaknesses and scheme fit ultimately led to their release. For Jones, it was primarily the inability to consistently impact the game in coverage scenarios. His athleticism allowed him to move sideline to sideline. But football is about more than just speed. It's about anticipation, technique, and positioning. In Taylor's case, being a seventh-round pick during a coaching transition meant fewer opportunities and a more crowded positional room, which limited his chances to shine. These decisions highlight a broader theme for the Raiders. Talent alone is not enough. Fit within the system, situational versatility, and reliability are equally critical, and the front office seems committed to prioritizing these factors as they assemble the final roster. The offensive side of the ball is equally intriguing. With the Raiders preparing to face the Patriots in Week 1, matchups at wide receiver, tight end, and running back positions will be key. Injuries on the Patriots side, particularly the uncertainty surrounding Christian Gonzalez, could shift the game plan significantly. Gonzalez is arguably the top corner on the New England roster, and his hamstring injury leaves a hole in the Patriots' defensive backfield. Raiders receivers, therefore, may find opportunities to exploit mismatches and create big plays, which could be pivotal in setting the tone for the season opener. Offensive coordinators across the league constantly analyze these kinds of variables, and having a defensive gap like this could allow the Raiders to test new formations, quick passes, and intermediate routes that challenge the Patriots' backup coverage. Special teams also deserve close attention, particularly with the addition of athletes like Oamoa. His speed and explosiveness are ideal for kickoff coverage, punt return lanes, and other critical special teams moments that often swing momentum in close games. The Raiders' special teams performance in recent seasons has been a point of focus, and adding players with both athleticism and developmental potential suggests a deliberate plan to tighten this often overlooked aspect of the game. Every yard gained or lost on special teams can have a cascading effect on field position, scoring opportunities, and ultimately, game outcomes. For a team looking to maximize its competitive edge, attention to these details is vital, and Oamoa could play a surprisingly significant role if he adapts quickly. On the defensive front, depth remains a key narrative. With Jabril Peppers still available, the Raiders have options for shoring up secondary versatility. Peppers brings experience, speed, and a playmaking mentality that could immediately impact nickel and dime packages. While the starting secondary has its own challenges, having a player like Peppers available adds flexibility, allowing the coaching staff to rotate personnel in ways that preserve stamina while optimizing matchups. In a league where injuries are inevitable, depth and flexibility are non-negotiable. Peppers' presence, even in a rotational role, could influence the Raiders' defensive strategy against opponents with multiple offensive threats, particularly teams with dynamic tight ends or slot receivers who require specialized coverage. Now, turning to individual player potential, the Raiders' offensive skill positions are an area where explosive plays could define the early season. Receivers, tight ends, and running backs who can execute in space, create separation, and convert critical third-down opportunities will be essential. This is where matchup analysis becomes fascinating. The coaching staff must consider which players excel against man versus zone coverage, which running backs can exploit gaps created by defensive misalignment, and how to adjust blocking schemes in real time based on opponent tendencies. The Raiders' offensive strategy appears to be a blend of calculated risk-taking and leveraging player strengths, aiming to maximize scoring potential while mitigating turnovers. Defensively, the linebacking core will be under scrutiny, especially with the integration of Oamoa. His athleticism allows him to cover ground quickly, which is essential in responding to modern spread offenses that challenge linebackers to read, react, and execute simultaneously. Coverage ability, gap integrity, and pursuit angles are critical metrics here. While Oamoa may not yet have the polish of a seasoned starter, the Raiders' coaching philosophy seems focused on molding his raw traits into a functional component of both the defense and special teams. The hope is that within weeks, he becomes a dependable rotational player, capable of impacting both passing lanes and run defense. In essence, entering Week 1, the Raiders are a team balancing promise and uncertainty. Athletic potential, depth considerations, coaching strategy, and situational matchups all converge to create a highly dynamic and unpredictable early season narrative. From a signing of developmental players like Oamoa to quarterback depth management with Driscoll, from strategic planning for the Patriots matchup to evaluating special teams' impact, the Raiders are preparing for a season where adaptability and execution will determine success. Fans, analysts, and players alike are watching closely, aware that the opening weeks can set the tone for everything that follows. Every snap, every adjustment, and every roster move is a piece of a larger puzzle, and the excitement of football season truly begins when the lights come up, the crowd roars, and the Raiders step onto the field. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Malcolm Koonce, the dynamic defensive end who has captured the attention of NFL fans with his explosive style and relentless energy, has ignited a storm of speculation and debate across social media following his sudden and controversial exit from the Las Vegas Raiders. The news of Koonce's departure spread like wildfire late last night, sparking a flurry of reactions that range from shock and disappointment to incredulity, with fans, analysts, and former players weighing in on what exactly led to such an unexpected split. Social media platforms, particularly Twitter and Instagram, have become virtual arenas where fans dissect every possible angle, from rumored disputes within the Raiders' locker room to speculation about contract disagreements and strategic disagreements with the coaching staff. The rumor mill is churning relentlessly, with some suggesting that Koonce's departure could be tied to tensions regarding his role in the defensive scheme, while others believe it may involve behind-the-scenes friction over leadership and team direction. Analysts have also jumped in, debating whether the Raiders' defensive line will suffer long-term consequences from losing a player of Koonce's caliber, while simultaneously questioning if this dramatic exit signals broader issues within the organization. Meanwhile, Koonce himself has remained mostly silent, fueling further speculation and prompting a surge of cryptic social media activity that fans are dissecting for hidden meaning. The timing of the announcement, coming just as training camp preparations were intensifying, has only added to the intensity of the discussion, with some insiders hinting that the split was abrupt and possibly fraught with emotional tension. The whirlwind surrounding Koonce's exit has created a palpable sense of uncertainty, leaving fans eager for confirmation or clarification from the Raiders' management. As the story continues to unfold, every tweet, post, and insider report is being scrutinized, making Koonce's departure one of the most talked-about events in recent NFL history, fueling endless debate about the future of both the player and the franchise that once counted on his presence. Social media influencers, sports commentators, and devoted fans have all contributed to the narrative, turning what might have been a simple roster change into a saga full of intrigue, speculation, and anticipation, leaving the football world on edge about what happens next. The social media explosion following Malcolm Koonce's controversial exit from the Las Vegas Raiders has taken on a life of its own, with fans and commentators alike dissecting every possible angle of the story, from contract disputes to locker room dynamics and potential clashes with coaching philosophies. Every post and tweet about Koonce has sparked hundreds, if not thousands, of replies, each theorizing about the true reasons behind his sudden departure, while others have started creating memes and compilations highlighting key moments of his career with the Raiders. Analysts on television and digital platforms are discussing Koonce's impact on the Raiders' defensive front, debating whether his departure could be detrimental to the team's performance or whether it opens the door for new talent to step into a leadership role. Rumors are circulating that Koonce may have disagreed with certain strategic decisions made by the coaching staff, particularly regarding his playing time and responsibilities on the field, with some insiders suggesting that tensions have been simmering for months before reaching a breaking point. Fans, meanwhile, have divided into factions, some expressing disappointment and frustration over losing a player who consistently demonstrated effort, skill, and an ability to disrupt opposing offenses, while others speculate that a fresh start elsewhere could benefit Koonce and potentially elevate his career to new heights. The social media chatter has extended beyond Twitter and Instagram, spilling into podcasts, online forums, and video channels, where experts attempt to piece together the puzzle of his departure while simultaneously speculating on potential landing spots for the talented defensive end. Every hint, such as a cryptic post or a subtle interaction with teammates, is being analyzed in excruciating detail, reflecting the obsessive nature of modern sports fandom. Even former Raiders players and commentators have weighed in, offering their perspectives on Koonce's potential motivations and the team dynamics that may have influenced his decision. The rumor mill is relentless, with speculation ranging from disputes over contract negotiations to differences in long-term vision with the Raiders' front office, making it nearly impossible to separate fact from conjecture. Amid all the noise, Koonce's personal brand has gained immense attention, as fans eagerly await an official statement or interview to clarify the situation, while insiders hint that this story is far from over. The tension surrounding his departure has created a unique atmosphere in the NFL community, blending genuine concern for team chemistry with the excitement of a potential blockbuster move, keeping everyone glued to updates and intensifying interest in both Koonce and the Raiders. Malcolm Koonce's departure from the Las Vegas Raiders has ignited speculation not only about the player himself, but also about the internal dynamics of one of the NFL's most scrutinized franchises, creating a perfect storm for rumor, gossip, and heated discussion across sports media channels. Observers note that Koonce has been a rising star within the Raiders' defensive rotation, earning recognition for his explosive bursts off the line of scrimmage, relentless pursuit of quarterbacks, and a knack for making game-changing plays. The sudden nature of his exit has led to widespread conjecture, with insiders hinting at potential disagreements over team culture, coaching philosophy, and the allocation of snaps among defensive personnel. Fans have poured over interviews, press conferences, and social media activity, searching for any subtle clue that might indicate whether Koonce's departure was purely professional or tinged with personal dissatisfaction. Analysts have been dissecting the situation, suggesting that a combination of factors, including personality clashes, contract negotiations, and divergent visions for the defense, may have contributed to the decision, while simultaneously debating how this will affect the Raiders' strategy in upcoming games. The intensity of the social media reaction reflects not only Koonce's popularity, but also the heightened expectations for the Raiders, whose roster changes are often scrutinized with unparalleled fervor. Speculation extends to potential trade destinations, with fans imagining Koonce in a variety of scenarios that could maximize his talents and impact, all while fueling further online discussion and engagement. Memes, highlight reels, and opinion videos have proliferated across digital platforms, reinforcing the idea that this is not a simple roster change, but a narrative filled with intrigue, emotion, and anticipation. The mystery surrounding his sudden exit has left fans clamoring for confirmation, while sports journalists scramble to corroborate sources and piece together an accurate account of events. Koonce's story has quickly evolved into a symbol of the complex interplay between talent, personality, and organizational culture in professional football, prompting an ongoing debate about loyalty, career management, and the delicate balance between individual ambition and team cohesion. The buzz surrounding this saga shows no signs of slowing, as every development is amplified across platforms, making it one of the most talked-about controversies in recent NFL memory. The ripple effect of Malcolm Koonce's controversial departure from the Raiders has reached far beyond the confines of Las Vegas, sparking conversations that cross team loyalties, sports networks, and fan communities, highlighting the enduring fascination with sudden player exits and the dramatic narratives they generate. Koonce's explosive playing style and visible presence on the field made him a recognizable figure, and his sudden disappearance from the Raiders roster has prompted speculation about the broader implications for the team's defensive strategy and locker room morale. Sports analysts have delved into game tape, statistics, and insider reports, searching for clues that could shed light on why a player of Koonce's caliber would leave a team that has invested heavily in his development. The social media frenzy surrounding his departure has been fueled not only by fans' emotional responses, but also by the inherent human curiosity about conflict, intrigue, and the unknown, creating a narrative that blends fact, rumor, and conjecture in equal measure. Commentators have debated whether this move represents a strategic decision by the Raiders' front office or an indication of internal tension, while some fans speculate on potential landing spots where Koonce could flourish and continue his career trajectory. The timing of the exit, coinciding with key training periods, has intensified the speculation as insiders question whether the sudden shift could impact team cohesion, preseason preparations, and defensive efficiency in the upcoming season. Memes and fan-generated content have proliferated, portraying Koonce in heroic, rebellious, or enigmatic roles, which further stokes the rumor mill and keeps his story at the forefront of sports conversations. Analysts have also speculated on the psychological aspects of such a high-profile exit, discussing how locker room dynamics, leadership disputes, and personal motivations intertwine with professional ambitions, creating a complex portrait of modern sports culture. The intensity of the debate highlights how a single roster change can ripple across media platforms, turning a local team issue into a global talking point. As experts weigh in, insiders drop hints, and fans dissect every available signal, the saga of Koonce's departure continues to evolve, illustrating the power of perception, narrative, and social media amplification in shaping modern sports discourse. Every new detail is scrutinized, debated, and amplified, ensuring that Malcolm Koonce's exit remains a focal point of NFL conversation for weeks to come. While the Raiders navigate the uncertainty left in his wake, and fans eagerly await the next twist in this unfolding drama. In the wake of Malcolm Koonce's explosive and controversial exit from the Las Vegas Raiders, sports media and fan communities have been engulfed in a whirlwind of speculation, rumor, and conjecture, as everyone attempts to decipher the motivations, consequences, and future possibilities arising from this unexpected development. Koonce's presence on the field, characterized by aggressive pursuit of quarterbacks, relentless energy, and an innate ability to shift the momentum of games, made him a pivotal component of the Raiders' defensive strategy, and his departure has left analysts questioning the immediate and long-term implications for the team's performance. Social media platforms have become pressure cookers of analysis, opinion, and debate, with fans dissecting every word from Koonce, former teammates, and team officials in search of insights into the nature of the split, while sports personalities weigh in with theories ranging from internal conflicts and coaching disagreements to financial considerations and strategic realignments. The rumor mill has been relentless, producing competing narratives that suggest both personal and professional motivations behind Koonce's exit, while highlighting the opaque nature of decision-making processes within high-profile sports franchises. The timing of his departure, coinciding with critical phases of training and roster adjustments, has only intensified the frenzy, with speculation focusing on how the Raiders will recalibrate their defensive schemes and whether emerging talent can adequately fill the void left by Koonce. Insider reports, sometimes conflicting and often tantalizingly vague, have fueled the discussion further, creating an environment in which every minor detail is amplified, dissected, and interpreted, reinforcing the sense of drama surrounding the situation. Analysts and commentators are debating not only the immediate tactical implications, but also the broader questions about leadership, team culture, and player agency within professional football, illustrating how a single player's decision can resonate across multiple layers of the sports ecosystem. Fans continue to dissect potential landing spots for Koonce, envisioning blockbuster trades, free agency moves, and dramatic career reinventions, while social media continues to swirl with memes, reaction videos, and hot takes, making this one of the most talked about NFL stories in recent memory. As speculation continues unabated, the narrative surrounding Malcolm Koonce's departure from the Raiders remains a living, evolving drama, demonstrating the magnetic power of controversy, social media amplification, and the complex dynamics of modern professional sports. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.